Hey, good day, everyone. My name is Posham. I'm a cloud architect. I just want to show you a quick demo of how you can use Oracle Autonomous Database, analyze movie ratings data, and come up with recommendations. All right. Uh, Before I proceed, I just want to wish you all Happy New Year 2023. So the first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe the problem briefly, what exactly this one is we are trying to solve, then creating an autonomous database. Actually, that's going to take a couple of minutes, but in the interest of time, I'm not going to create it. I'm going to show you how to create it. Then create a data warehouse user, load these two files. Actually, there's a file called movies, and there's another file called ratings. They are publicly available, but what I did was I downloaded and saved it on an object storage in the Oracle Cloud. All right. And then we are going to do some basic checks. And after that, we are going to analyze these two files. And then based on that, we are going to make recommendations. All right. So there are going to be two tables, as I said, movies and ratings. And movies has got three columns: movie ID, title, and genres. And the ratings has got basically the users who watch these movies, they rated the movie. So user ID, movie ID, and the rating. Rating is on a scale of 1 to 5, and the timestamp. All right. And we are going to be using mostly the movie ID, the title. Genres I'm not using in this particular demo, and the rating, of course. So how you create the database, I will show you in just a minute. It's very easy. And then I'm going to load. All right. Actually, I'm going to create a user. Then I'm going to load these two files that are located on this one. This is a public folder. All right. This is what you will end up. There is an implicit relationship between these two tables. And the next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to identify what are the top rated movies. So top rated movies, the way I'm defining is the movies that are rated more than 10,000 times, right? That means more than 10,000 people watched, and they rated greater than 3, right? That means is on a scale of 1 to 5, anything above 3 or equal to 3 is considered a good movie to watch. So that's an assumption I'm making. All right. And then after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out what the top movie watchers who watch these movies, these top rated movies. That means, I want to identify the first top 500 users that have watched these top rated movies. All right. So the first user may have watched, let us say, if the top rated movies are, let's say, 300. This will give you a list of users along with the number of movies they watched from this list. So it's not necessary that everybody in this one watched all those 300 movies. One user might have watched 250, the second one 249, maybe 260, and so on. So the plan is to recommend the other movies because they all belong to the same group. We are saying the people who watched less number of movies compared to the top guy, the top person who watched all the movies, those top rated movies, we are saying, hey, maybe you will like these movies also. That's the assumption we are making. It's like a poor man machine learning. So then what we are going to do is, after we identify the top rated movies and top movie watchers, right? There are two tables, top rated movies and top movie watchers. Then we are going to create a Cartesian product, basically all the combinations. Now, it is not necessary that every movie is watched by every top user, right? So there may be some users that I have not watched. How do we find that out? So here, that's what we do. So we take that view, that Cartesian product, and then we do outer join. That means we do an outer join of this table, this view with this ratings table, and find out the ratings for those movies. So that's what this one is. Now, if I watch 200 movies and the top movies are 300, my rating for those remaining 100 movies would be null, right? So that's the idea. So that means if the rating is null, and that means that movie can be recommended. So that's the um, plan, right? That's the view we are creating. That's the actual table we are creating. And then, we can see how many movies possible. How many movie recommendations, basically, right? That's this one. And then, actually, these are all the combinations, by the way. And this one is rating is null, means these are the number of movies to be recommended to all the top rated watchers, right? And then, and if you want to get just a top 200, right? We can do that. That is the filtering we can have here, all right? And then, since in this demo I did not use the genres as a filter, maybe if you want to try this, you can create the top rated movies based on the genres. So this is just a sample sequel. We'll see. I'm not sure if I'm going to be spending time on this, but I thought I will show you this. So let's go look at this. So I already have a autonomous database, but if you want to create an autonomous database, it's very, very simple. So create an autonomous database, provide the compartment, provide the display name, database name, and whether it's a data warehousing or transaction processing, it doesn't matter for this demo. And whether you want to use free tier, 19C, database, and how much storage you need, right? So it's pretty straightforward, actually, and you need to provide the password for the admin user. And then you can have security, like where you want to access this database from. You don't want to expose this to the entire world. Maybe you can have some security lists also. So I'm not going to show you that, but thought I will just use the existing database. So that's my autonomous database. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create, actually I'm going to log in as admin user. And then I'm going to create a user administration. So let's call it create a user, movie sales maybe. So let's call this as and this person is going to have web access, and the quota, let's make it unlimited. I mean, actually even the one of the files is about 600 megabytes. So just to save, 1 gig should be enough, but I'm just making unlimited. And I will check machine learning also. I'm not going to be using this, but there is a notebook facility, a notebook feature that you can use, all right? So I thought I will just enable that also. So let's create the user. That's done, and save this password, then log out from this user, and log in. Let's call it movie sales. That's what we created a second ago, movie sales. So now what we would do is we would load the data, right? So we'll go to load the data. But before we load the data, actually, we can create cloud location where the files are located. So here I can create a cloud store location. So I will say movies and ratings. Just have the same description here, and it's a public bucket, and the location is, so let me go here, this one. Oops. Actually, I want to copy this, copy the link, then go to here. right? So paste it here. And then you say next. So you see there are two files there. So let's create that. Now go back to data load. Here we go. And then we are going to load from the cloud location, cloud store location. So immediately it pops up. This is the cloud location you created. You can create multiple locations, by the way. So now we can drag and drop this to here and load these two files. And one of the files has about 10 or 15,000 rows. This one has got 24 million rows. So let's load them. And this takes about 30, 40 seconds because this file is pretty big, actually, the rating file, right? You can see they're getting loaded in parallel. So another 10, 20 seconds, maybe max, should be done. If you like, you can fast forward. Okay, it's done. So let's go back here. Let's open SQL worksheet and just tells you, okay, now you can see there are two files here, two tables actually. So now let me open my notepad actually. Here I got all the SQL that is also there in the PowerPoint. So let's see just the basic checks, right? How many rows are there in each of these tables? So let's copy this and okay, let's do this actually. From, okay, so I cannot have actually, so this, I should have fixed this. Number, yeah, pound sign is a reserved character, so I need to update my notepad. So that's correct now. Okay, so now run this. It just tells you that movies has got 40,000 rows, 40,000 movies, and this ratings has got 24 million, 404,000 ratings, right? That's what you see here. Then we want to find out the top rated movies, right? Basically, I'm making an assumption that if it is rated more than 10,000 times, it is considered a good movie, right? That's just made the assumption. So let me copy this. Now I have this drop table and all this just to make it repeatable. So let's do that. First, it will say the table does not exist, but the table is created. Now let's count the number of rows on that. How many top rated movies are there that meet that criteria? So there are 306 movies, all right? So now let's find out what those movies are. Just join with the movies table and get their names, all right? So that's what I'm doing here. So this is based on the rating count, right? This was rated 77,000 times. So that means at least that many people watched that movie. So like Swashank Redemption. By the way, this is a good movie, actually. I did watch this movie. So that's what you see. These are the top rated movies. Then now what we'll do is, who are the people who watched these top rated movies, right? So that's what this one is. So let's execute this. All right. So binge it top movie watchers. That means these folks watched most of those top rated movies. I mean, you can review the sequel later, but now let's look at this, folks, what these are. See this one? So this user watched out of those 301 movies, this person has watched 293. The next one watched 287 movies, and so on and so on, right? They're just listing the first 100 binge watchers. Now, what we would do is we will create a Cartesian product, right? All the combinations of these binge watchers and the top rated movies. So let's do that. It's just a view, by the way. All right, that view is created. Now, what we would do is we would create a table that consists of all these combinations along with the rating. All right. So that's why I'm doing an outer join with the rating. That means for some of the combinations, maybe that you have not watched it, so that rating would be null. So that's what I want to get. That null means that movie is good for recommendation. So that's the idea. So let's execute this. So all possible combinations, right? So this contains movies that were watched as well as that were not watched. So how many rows are there in this? See, this 153,000. You remember there are 301 movies, and the top rated users were, forgot the number, but so it's a combination of that. So it's a product of that, right? That's what you see. Now, what we would do is, if the rating is null, that means this is a candidate for watching. So how many movies total that can be recommended? We can recommend 25,000 movies, right? Actually, 25,000 recommendations, not movies. These are 25,000 recommendations. Now, let's users versus, so user-wise, how many recommendations we can make. So for example, here, and let's fetch the first 200 rows, all right? So here what we are saying is for this user ID 1361, we should recommend Heat movie, then Snatch, and so on and so on. And the next movie, next user actually is ID is 2293. For this particular user, Jumanji is another movie because that person did not watch this movie. 2293, again, there are a bunch of movies that you can recommend. And the user ID 3100, this is another movie that we can recommend. So you get the idea, right? So that's the thing. This table has all the combinations, including the combination where that particular user has not watched that movie. That's why the rating is null. So that's what this is. Now, as I said, as an enhancement, you can add these filters, right, in your thing. So now that's basically the demo. So tomorrow in a sales situation, if the user calls in and says, can you recommend, or let's say you're on Netflix or you're on any other streaming service, they know your user ID and they can make these kind of recommendations based on the historical analysis. Now, let me go back to the machine learning thing, what I was telling you. Why machine learning? So there is a feature called sales. Okay. So here, I'll show you, we have a feature called notebooks. So you can today this comes with only when you enable machine learning, which by the way is a free option. So, so here we go, notebooks. So what I can do is actually I can import, I already created this notebook. So let me go to that particular directory where I have my file. So this is the, I already created. I'll show you what this one is. All right. So it's pretty much the same, but I just put it into a notebook because you can visually see them. All right. Some of the things can be presented as graphs. So give me 1 second. So here we go, right? So this is the first SQL that we ran. So I can run this. By the way, there is a, this tells you what language you're going to be using. So here you can just run this. It takes, it's ready. Finished. See this one. Now, if you want to, this is the what Jupyter gives you, right? You can look at it as a tabular form, or you can there's a graph, or you can choose a pie chart. I know the number of rows in the ratings are in millions, whereas this is only 40,000. So that's why the graph doesn't look great. But anyhow, you get the idea. So then you can drop this table, right? So everything is there. And then we can create this, right? Finished, and so on and so on. So I thought I will share this with you. Top rated movies, right? And these are the you're just selecting this movie ID and what is the movie name. Basically, just listing the movie ID. You want to link with the movie name. You want to present the movie name. So that's what this one is. So the good thing with notebooks is that you can see all the results, right, from top to bottom. So that's why I thought I will show you this, and so on. So this has got everything all the way to the bottom, right? So all the recommendations and so on. So whatever I showed you in SQL worksheet, they are also there in this one. So I'm going to share the SQL script as well as the PowerPoint, and also the export dump of this notebook, all right, the JSON file. So that's what I will do. Thank you for watching, and you have good rest of the day. Once again, Happy New Year.